I just started recording, everyone. We're very pleased to have Andrea Roberts from Lexis to help with this guide to our Lexis digital library. Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Aaron. Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Roberts, the LexisNexis Digital Library Consultant for the San Francisco Law Library. And today we are just going to walk through all of the features and functionality that you have access to via the digital library. The digital library is really the Lexis print materials available in an ebook format remotely now, which is great. There's a few different ways you can get to the digital library. I'm going to point them out. If at any point you guys have questions, feel free to either put them in the chat, or we'll definitely have time at the end of the program to tackle them. But the biggest thing is getting to the digital library, and there's a few different ways you can do that. The first way is if you're on the San Francisco Law Library's website, under legal research, there is a link for the LexisNexis Digital Library. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page that gives you all of the information you need to access the digital library. If you already have an account, so if you already have your LexisNexis Digital Library account, you can actually just click Digital Library ebook collection and go right to the digital library. If you need access, so if you don't have your own ID, click the request account form, and that way the library staff can create an account for you. Once you've received your login credentials and you've clicked access the digital library, that will take you to a sign-on page. And once you sign in, your screen will look something like this. Now we're looking at my homepage here. Every single individual user's homepage will be customized to their recently read material. So everyone's does look a little different. When you log in, you'll see any of the titles you've recently read. On your left, or on the bottom here, you'll see your annotations, any highlights you've created, any tags you've created on titles. These will all just generate and continue to update as you use the digital library more and more. You can use any device that you prefer to access the digital library. We do have a free mobile app, so you can search for the LexisNexis Digital Library app on either the App Store for iOS users or the Google Play Store for Android users. And everything I'm showing you today, you can do on any mobile device or tablet, as well as your laptop or desktop. It's also programmed to sync between devices. So when you log into one device and the next time you log into a different device, everything will sync, your recently reads, any notes that you've taken. So you can really jump from device to device when using the digital library. On your left-hand side will be your navigation tools. So it defaults to the home page, but if you click on Browse Library, that will take you to a handful of curated collections that your library staff has put together just to make it easier to get to the most often used titles. The first thing you'll see is a California practice collection. As you scroll down, we've created collections for administrative law, discovery, real estate and real estate forms. And then at the very bottom, you'll see your recently added titles. And this is where you can go to see if there's something new that's been added or any of the newest additions that have been added to the digital library. At the very bottom of this screen, you'll see a list for all subjects. If you click See All 53 Subjects, that's going to give you a listing alphabetically by jurisdiction and practice area of everything that's included within the digital library. So if you knew you were just looking for everything on antitrust law, you can click antitrust. If you just wanted to see everything for California, you can click on California, so on and so forth. This just gives you a really good idea of what's included with your digital library. You also have a search bar up at the top, and you'll see that no matter where you are within the digital library. And that search bar is going to allow you to search by title, author, subject, whatever it is that you're specifically looking for. It's only looking through title information, though, not through any of the actual content of the individual title. So just keep that in mind when you're running a search. But for instance, if I wanted to see everything on family law, I can type in family law or just family. And what that's going to do is pull up the different titles. You'll see it defaults to all titles, and that's just showing you every single title that's associated with family law. It's also going to expand out your collections, your multi-volume sets. So any title that is part of a multi-volume set, you'll see each volume here as well. If you prefer to see your results grouped together by sets, you can actually click sets up here, and that will just group them together. It's a user preference. It depends on if you want to see everything expanded out or if you want to see it grouped as a set. You also have a filters option. So if you are running just kind of a basic search and it pulls up quite a few items, you have the ability to narrow by jurisdiction, practice area, content type, just so that you can limit the amount of titles that appear. Let's choose one of these. We'll go Sizer and Kumley. Looking at these results, you'll see that they tell you what the title is. You'll see this read button. There's also 3 dots associated next to it. If you knew that this was exactly the title you needed, you can click read and immediately open that title. If you want a little bit more information, there's a couple different options. These 3 dots, when you click on them, will allow you to view a larger cover image, view a table of contents, and additional details. You can also create a tag here as well. I think of tags as quick links to my most used or favorite titles. You can create as many tags as you want. You can name them whatever you want. We never touch them. They're unique to your user ID. So you can create them and they will be there indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. So if I just wanted to create a tag for this guy, we'll just tag it as family law. It's now tagged it, and then next time I need this volume, it'll actually be available on my homepage and under my tags. So again, those tags are just quick links if you know you're going to use that title over and over again. If I still want even more information, I can click anywhere on the title info itself, and that's going to take me to what we call a book details page. This is going to give you all the information you've ever wanted to know about this one volume. So on the left, you'll have edition and release information. It'll tell you how many copies the library has available of that volume. Down below, it'll tell you if you've added any notes to this title. You can click the read button to jump into it again. If you know someone else was looking for this volume, you can actually send them a link to it. You can add tags. And then up at the top, on the right-hand side is a table of contents. You'll see a table of contents associated with every single volume within the digital library. You can actually expand out the entire table of contents, which means it'll expand out, each chapter and subchapter. And you'll notice as you scroll down, every single section is hyperlinked. So you can scroll through the table of contents, find exactly what you're looking for, click on it, and it will actually open the title and drop you right to that section. However, there is one additional feature down below here that I want to point out. On every single title, so whether it's a standalone single volume or part of a multi-volume set, you'll see the search this title option. That's going to allow you to run a search by keyword or phrase through the content of this title so that you can find exactly what you're looking for and jump into that search result immediately. If it's part of a multi-volume set, you'll be able to search through all volumes at once. If it's just a single standalone title like this one, it'll just search through that one volume. I'm going to run a quick search here and see. When I do that, you'll see on my right-hand side, it pulls up and it tells you what section it's in within this title. You'll see my term bolded and highlighted. And as I scroll down from result to result, you'll see that a few other things appear. And there's also a go to passage and share hyperlink. The share hyperlink would allow you to share a link to this specific section. with anyone else who has access to the digital library. And the go to passage would actually just drop you right to the section within this title. So if you're the one doing the research and you need to jump right into it, you can click go to passage. And what that's going to do is effectively check out this title to you. It'll tell you that you have 7 days to borrow the title. You can borrow up to 10 copies or 10 titles at any given point. And when you click borrow, it's now going to open up that title and drop you right to that section that we happen to click on. The checkout period is 7 days. If you need to check it out for longer than that, you can always renew it at the end of that 7 days. Also, when you are done with the title, you can return it early. So if you're done with it, you can return it. I'll show you how to do that. But if at any point you forget to return a title, it will automatically go back into circulation after that 7 days. When the title opens, so we did click that search result and jump right to those dependency proceedings section that we clicked on. You'll see it highlights your search term just to draw your eye to that section. It defaults to this 2-page view, almost like you had the book open on your desk. If you prefer a single page view, up at the top right here next to the bookmark option, there are these 3 lines. When you click on that, the second option here is 1 page per screen, and that would change it to a single page view. We also have keyboard commands. So if you like using shortcuts on your keyboard, we do list them all out here for you as well. Down below, you'll have a number of additional items that you have access to. You have the ability to print copies of these titles or print sections of these titles. If you plan on printing, we do suggest using Google Chrome. It gives you the best printing options. You can print a physical copy of a chapter or print a PDF, whatever you prefer. We also have a hyperlinked table of contents. So again, if there's something else you're looking for, you can click on the table of contents. It'll show you where you currently are within the title and allow you to search through the table of contents or jump into any specific section right from here. Along with the table of contents or alongside it, you'll also have a search bar. And it looks like, there we go. Oops, sorry, I think my internet just hiccuped for a second, so I apologize for that quick little hiccup. You'll also have a search option. So you can run a search for an additional, term. I ran that initial search for dependency, but I can come in here under find and actually type in, say, different. And what that's going to do is run a search through this entire title. It'll tell you how many results pop up. It'll show you where your search terms pop up within the title. Everything is hyperlinked, so you'll be able to jump from section to section just by clicking on it. And if I do that, we'll actually choose a section here. You'll see up at the top, it tells you how many matches total. It'll tell you which search result you happen to click on. You can go from result to result just by clicking these arrows, or you can actually click show all, and that's going to show you the list of search results again. Probably the most used feature, I got click happy. Probably the most used feature within the digital library is the ability to highlight and annotate your work. So if let's actually choose a section here. You can add as many notes and highlights as you want. Just like your tags, your notes and highlights are completely unique to your user ID. No one else will ever see them. No one has access to them. So even if someone else comes and borrows this title after you, they won't be able to see the notes and highlights you've added. You'll actually always have access to those notes and highlights, even if the title's not checked out to you anymore. They're always available on your homepage and throughout the digital library. I think there's about 4 different places you'll find your notes and highlights. So feel free to highlight as much as you want. If you enjoy adding notes and highlights, please take advantage of it. It's a really easy way to really organize, and we've added quite a few features. So let's do that. Looks like my, oh, there we go. My spectrum was cutting out for a second. Okay. Let's just try, because I think I broke my own computer here. Let's just try opening that up again. So you'll be able to add as many notes and highlights as you want. You'll be able to access those over and over again. You can actually set the highlighting feature live if you like, so that it automatically starts highlighting titles as you go. If you only want to add 1 or 2 highlights, you can add them as you go as well. It's just a complete user preference. The highlighting button down below always defaults to bright yellow. So if you want, it'll automatically highlight in yellow. If you prefer to highlight in a different color, you have a multitude of options. Just click wait. Oops, I apologize. I think I've been working on my internet outside and I think it's just suddenly given up on life. Let me try. Here we go. Okay. Looks like it's starting to work now. I apologize, guys. Working from home life at some point. Whew. While we're waiting for that to open, I can talk about settings. You do have the ability to customize your settings. So that really allows you to customize how you view each of these titles. You can change the size of the font, the background lighting, the type of font. You can change the contrast. So if you prefer a darker contrast within the font, you have that ability as well. If you use a screen reader, so if you prefer to use any sort of screen reader program, we are compatible with screen readers as well. So you'll be able to run any digital library title with your concurrently with your screen reader. Okay, here we go. If I click highlight, again, that sets it live. I can choose my highlighting colors as it pops up here. I also have the ability to add as many notes as I want. So let's actually add a highlight. When you do add that highlight, it pops up and it will show you a couple additional options as well. You have the ability to copy any section of text to a clipboard, and when you paste it into your Word document or an email address, or sorry, an email, it'll actually give you the ability to add your annotation or your citation with it. Then you also have the ability to share passages and links to specific passages that you're highlighting with other people that have access to this digital library. So if I do add that highlight, again, up at the top, I can copy a passage link, I can copy with citation, I can add a note. And when I do that, you'll see that it adds that highlight and it adds a little sticky note icon, that little red note icon. And that's just to give you a visual cue that you're adding a note on top of that highlight. I mentioned that notes and highlights are always available to you. The first place you'll find them is when you're in the title itself, under annotations at the bottom here. It'll show you what you've highlighted, what note you've added, what color you highlighted it in. You have the ability to edit or delete notes and highlights right from here. If you've added quite a few, you can actually run a search through them in the find bar. And you can narrow by color. So if you like to highlight different issues with different colors, you can actually narrow by the specific highlighting color as well. Finally, if you'd like to have a hard copy of your notes, you can actually print them out or print to PDF from the screen as well. The last thing I want to talk about is the ability to hyperlink within documents. Anything you see highlighted in blue is going to link you within this one volume. Anything you see highlighted in green will actually link you out to that case or code on Lexis Advance. If you don't have access to Lexis Advance, it will just drop you to a sign-on page. But if you do have access to Lexis Advance, when you click on it, it'll actually just open an additional tab, so you never lose your place within that treatise. And then it will open up to that case or code directly, so that you don't have to run an additional search once you open up Lexis Advance. Again, if you don't have access to Lexis Advance, you can always reach out to your library staff and ask them for assistance with accessing the cases and codes. Those are all of the features within the read functionality. I'm going to close out of here and just show you a few other options of accessing your notes and highlights and how to return titles. And then that'll be about it for the digital library. When you close out of a book, it just drops you right back to where you left off. If you wanted to run an additional search, you could. On the left-hand side, we looked at your home button and the browse library. My Books is actually just a running list of everything you've ever borrowed. It's a longer list than what we can put on the home page. And it's also where you can go to return the titles that you've borrowed. So again, if you forget to return it, it just goes back into circulation after 7 days. But if you want to return it early, you can. You just come into My Books, and on your right-hand side, you'll see a little clock icon. When you click on that, it tells you how long you have until that expires. And if you want to return it, you can click return, and it will immediately go back into circulation. Along these same lines, if someone else has already checked out the title that you're interested in, you'll actually see, rather than a read button, it'll say place a hold over here. And when you click place a hold, it'll just ask you for your email address. And as soon as that title becomes available, you'll receive an email letting you know that you can now come in and borrow it. On the left, again, you do have a link to your tags. We created that family tag when we looked at that title first. So it's always going to be here. It'll also be on the homepage as well. And again, those tags will stay here until you delete them or you delete your user ID. And finally, your annotations, so your notes and highlights, will always be kept in the My Annotations section. And you'll also have access to them from the homepage as well. But even if you don't have that title checked out to you anymore, you'll always have access to the notes and highlights that you created. Again, they're available indefinitely until you delete them or you delete your user ID. And when you come into My Annotations, you'll see it divides it out by title. So if I click on the one we just added, it'll show you how many notes and highlights you've added. It tells you what you highlighted, what note you added, gives you the citation and when you created it. And then you'll see these 3 little dots. And those options are copy annotation or add to export queue. If you just want to copy and paste this note, you can. However, if you choose to add notes and highlights to your queue, which I'm going to do right now, you can actually add multiple notes and highlights from multiple titles to your queue. So let's actually do that really quick just so you guys can see it. And when I do that, I've now added a bunch of notes and highlights from different titles. And what I can do is actually search through my queue. So if you do add quite a few notes and highlights from different titles, you can run a search by keyword or phrase to find what you're looking for here. You also have a few other options. You can pick and choose from this list which notes and highlights you want to download. You can select all if you want. And when you do, a few options pop up. You can again just always copy and paste, or if you click export, this is where your options are. You can download to a Google Drive account, a PDF, a CSV Excel file. So we do give you more options than just copying and pasting into a Word document. You can keep your notes and highlights in your queue indefinitely, or if you want to delete them, all you have to do is click remove from queue. those are all the features and functions of the digital library. Does anyone have any questions?
Remember, go ahead and put a question in the chat if you have one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if there aren't any questions, or if you do end up logging in and find that you have additional questions once you start using it, you can always reach out to your library staff. They can always forward questions my way as well. I'm available anytime you guys have additional questions or want like a quick refresher on the digital library. I'll be happy to work with you one-on-one as well.
You can email us at sfll.reference@sfgov.org. And
Perfect.
thank you so much, Andrea. We really appreciate it, and everyone for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.